As the first light of dawn brushes across Japan's eastern coast, small fishing ports come alive with sound and motion. From Oma to Yaizu, from Kushikino to Kochi, engines rumble to life ropes tighten, and vessels glide slowly away from the harbor into the open sea. These are the hand-lined tuna boats of Japan, modest in size but legendary in precision and tradition. For generations, their crews have ventured into the cold blue waters of the Pacific to pursue a single fish, the albacore tuna, known locally as Bincho Maguro. It is not just a catch, it is a calling. Unlike massive trawlers or industrial purse seiners, these small vessels depend entirely on the skill and rhythm of human hands. Each fisherman carries a single rod, a carbon or bamboo pole between 3 and 5 meters long, fitted with a line, and a simple, barbless hook. It's a method that values patience over power, craftsmanship over machinery. The day begins long before sunrise. Onshore families load crates of frozen bait, anchovies, sardines, or small mackerel, each piece packed in ice. The bait is not merely food for fish. It's the first gesture in a dialogue between human and ocean. As the sun lifts above the horizon, the boats head toward the Kuroshio Current, a warm ocean stream that flows like a living highway around Japan's southern islands. Here, the water teems with life. Schools of tuna follow the current northward, chasing smaller fish in their endless migration. For centuries, Japanese fishermen have mastered this cycle, reading the waves, the wind, and even the behavior of seabirds that circle above, a silent sign that tuna are near. Before the first line is cast, the deck transforms into a stage of careful coordination. Each fisherman takes his place along the rail. The bait buckets filled, the water nozzles primed. Using high-pressure hoses, they spray seawater continuously over the side of the boat, creating the illusion of frantic movement. A shimmering school of baitfish. To the tuna below, it looks like an irresistible feast. When the moment comes, no one speaks. Only the soft hiss of the hose and the rhythmic sound of waves against the hull fill the air. Then a signal from the captain, one sharp word. Lines are cast. Hooks sink. The dance begins. The fishermen move in perfect rhythm. The moment they feel tension on the line, they jerk sharply upward. A flash of silver bursts from the surface, a tuna leaping into the air before it lands with a heavy slap on the deck. In one motion, the fisherman resets, rebaits, and casts again. Over and over, hundreds of times, their movements blend into a hypnotic rhythm. It's hard, exhausting work. Each albacore weighs between 10 and 25 kilograms, and the pace rarely slows. But these men have learned the secrets of endurance, to shift weight through the legs, to let the motion of the boat carry the strain, to use strength with precision rather than force. To outsiders, it may look like chaos, a blur of spray and motion, but to the Japanese fishermen, it's harmony. They call it the tuna dance, a living expression of unity between man, sea, and creature. When the catch is good, the deck fills quickly with gleaming fish, their scales shining like steel under the sun. Each one is handled with respect, not as a trophy, but as a gift. The fishing may last only a few hours, but in those moments, generations of knowledge, skill, and reverence for nature are passed from one hand to the next. When a tuna lands on deck, there is no cheering, no celebration. The fishermen move with quiet precision, their faces calm, their actions deliberate. For them, every catch is a responsibility. Within seconds, the fish is brought to a small cleaning station built into the deck. Here, one of the crew performs ikejime, a traditional Japanese method designed to end the fish's life instantly and painlessly. With a slender spike, he pierces the brain and spinal cord in one motion. The fish falls still. This act is not only about respect, but also about science. By stopping nerve signals immediately, the fisherman prevents the buildup of lactic acid that would otherwise spoil the flesh. It is a centuries-old technique passed down through families, perfected long before refrigeration ever existed. Next, the fish is bled clean, rinsed with seawater, and placed into an RSW tank, a refrigerated seawater system where the temperature hovers just above freezing. There, the tuna's core temperature drops rapidly, locking in freshness and preserving the delicate color of the meat. Every movement on the boat has a rhythm wash chill stack record. The captain notes each fish's weight and time of capture in a waterproof logbook. This information will later determine its grade at the market, where quality is everything. Unlike industrial fleets that harvest by the thousands, handline crews catch only what the sea offers willingly. Their focus is not on volume, but on perfection. A single high-quality albacore can fetch more than a dozen machine-caught fish. As the morning continues, the ocean alternates between stillness and fury. Sometimes hours pass without a single bite. The fishermen wait hands steady on their rods, scanning the surface for signs of flicker of silver beneath the waves, a sudden burst of seabirds diving. Then, as if summoned, the ocean erupts again. One fisherman hooks a tuna, then another. The deck becomes a blur of motion lines, jerking water, spraying fish, thudding softly onto the wood. It's hard to describe the feeling of that moment. The sound of the rod cutting through the air, the flash of sunlight off wet scales, the synchronized movements of the crew. It all feels like a dance, one that balances grace and power. The longer they work, the more they enter a kind of flow, a state of absolute focus where time disappears. Even the sea seems to fall into rhythm with them, waves rolling in harmony with their movements. By midday, dozens of fish lie neatly in the tanks below. The fishermen pause only long enough to drink hot tea and stretch their shoulders before returning to work. Their hands are swollen, the salt stings their skin, yet no one complains. Because on these boats, every man knows he is part of something larger. Not just a profession, but a tradition that connects him to the past and ensures the future. When the final fish is secured, the captain slows the engine. The men rinse the deck in silence, the seawater running red, then clear again. Above them, a flock of seabirds circles in the fading light. As dusk falls, the horizon glows orange and the crew gathers near the bow. They watch the sun sink into the Pacific, the sky reflected in the rippling water. One of the older fishermen murmurs, "The ocean gives only to those who listen." The others nod. It is not superstition, it's truth. In this world of waves and wind, success comes not from conquering nature, but from moving with it. And that perhaps is the quiet secret of Japan's handline fishermen mastery, not through force, but through harmony. By early morning the next day, the fishing boats begin their journey home. The horizon is painted with faint pink light as gulls follow the vessels back toward shore. The smell of salt and diesel fills the cold air, a scent that every fisherman knows as the fragrance of success. In the harbor, preparations are already underway. Refrigerated trucks wait by the dock engines, idling, ready to carry the prized catch to market. Workers in rubber boots and gloves stand beside insulated crates filled with crushed ice. Everything is clean, orderly, and precise, the signature of Japanese craftsmanship. When the first boat arrives, the process moves like clockwork. The tuna are lifted gently from the hold, one by one, their skins still glistening and firm. Each fish is tagged with the fisherman's name, the boat's registration, and the time of capture. Transparency is not optional here. It's tradition. From the docks of Yaizu and Oma, the fish begin their next journey toward Toyosu Market in Tokyo, the beating heart of Japan's seafood trade. This modern facility, successor to the legendary Tsukiji Market, handles thousands of tons of seafood each day. But among all the catches that pass through its cold halls, handline tuna hold a place of honor. Before dawn, buyers gather in the chilled auction room wrapped in heavy coats holding flashlights and notebooks. They study each tuna closely, the color of the flesh, the sheen of the skin, the clarity of the eyes. A small slice is cut near the tail for inspection, revealing the fine pink meat inside. The auction begins quickly, almost silently. A few coded gestures, a nod, a raised finger, and a fish worth thousands of dollars changes hands in seconds. What makes these handline caught tuna so valuable is not just their flavor, but their story. Buyers know that each one represents hours of manual labor, careful handling, and the ancient ikejime technique that preserves the texture and taste unlike any other method. From Toyosu, the tuna are dispatched to restaurants across Japan, to the sushi counters of Tokyo, the izakayas of Osaka, and even to family kitchens in small coastal towns. Some are exported to markets in New York, Paris, and Singapore, where chefs proudly display the tag reading Japan Handline Tuna. Inside a small restaurant near Shizuoka, a chef unwraps one of these fish. He places the knife with reverence, cutting into the flesh in smooth, deliberate motions. The slices glisten like jewels, pale pink, tender, translucent. The chef smiles. "You can taste the sea," he says softly. Meanwhile, back at the port, the fishermen clean their boats in silence. Nets are washed, hooks, checked lines coiled neatly for the next voyage. They move slowly now, no longer racing the clock. Their work is done. In a small wooden shack overlooking the bay, an elder fisherman sharpens his knife by hand. "The sea gives, the sea teaches," he murmurs, but only to those who respect it. That philosophy, equal parts spirituality and discipline, runs deep through the veins of Japan's fishing villages. Here, success is not measured in tons, but in trust. Every fish caught, processed, and sold is a bridge between human effort and nature's generosity. As the sun climbs higher, the boats rest quietly at anchor, rocking gently in the tide. And though their holds are empty, their work has left an invisible mark, the continuation of a tradition that defines an entire culture's relationship with the sea. In Japan's coastal villages, fishing is not just a livelihood, it's a lineage. Along the narrow harbors of Shikoku, Kyushu, and Wakayama, families have practiced the art of handline tuna fishing for centuries. On these docks, the rhythm of daily life hasn't changed much, even as technology has transformed the world around them. At sunrise, fathers teach sons how to read the surface of the sea. The direction of wind ripples the sudden flutter of seabirds, the faint shimmer that betrays a school of fish below. They show them how to coil a line, so it never knots, how to sense a bite, not by sight, but by the vibration running through the rod. In the evenings around small wooden tables, these lessons continue in quiet stories. Patience. An old fisherman says, handing his grandson a cup of tea, "The sea doesn't reward those who hurry." Such exchanges form the heart of Japan's coastal culture. Knowledge is not written in books here. It is passed from hands to hands across generations. A fisherman's tools are simple: a rod, a hook, a knife. But the mastery behind them takes a lifetime. This inheritance goes beyond technique. It carries a moral code, a belief that the ocean must be treated as a living partner, not a resource to be exploited. In each fishing community, cooperative associations manage the balance between man and nature. Before every season, members gather to discuss the current's movement, the temperature of the water, and the population of albacore. Together, they set quotas, size limits, and seasonal boundaries. No government decree, just consensus among those who understand the sea best. Each boat must report its catch en route to a shared system that records the flow of fish across regions. This data, compiled over years, helps scientists and policymakers track migration patterns and monitor ocean health. In return, the government provides weather updates, equipment grants, and research support. It's a collaboration built not on hierarchy, but on mutual respect. This cooperative spirit is also what protects Japan's fishing heritage from the tide of industrialization. In an age where massive fleets dominate global waters, many Japanese fishermen have deliberately chosen to remain small-scale, catching less, but doing it right. They reject mass production contracts that demand quantity over quality. "We could make more money," one fisherman says, "but at what cost?" Once the sea is empty, wealth is worthless. This philosophy is deeply rooted in Mono no Aware, the Japanese appreciation for impermanence and beauty in restraint. To take only what the sea offers today ensures that it can give again tomorrow. Beyond economics, this way of life shapes the identity of entire communities. Festivals are held each year to honor the ocean and the tuna it provides. In Misaki, huge papier-mâché tuna are paraded through the streets, followed by fishermen carrying rods, nets, and banners bearing their family crests. Children learn songs about the sea, while elders bless the boats before the next season begins. The message is simple, yet profound. The ocean is not conquered, it is shared. And in that belief lies the endurance of Japan's handline fishing tradition. a practice that stands as one of the world's purest symbols of harmony between humanity and the natural world. As the tides shift and the seasons change, the story of Japan's handline fishermen continues far beyond its own shores. What began centuries ago as a humble craft, a man, a rod, a single line has now become a global model for sustainable fishing. In coastal schools across Japan, children are taught that the ocean is not just a provider, but a teacher. Field trips bring them aboard small handline boats where they watch fishermen cast lines into the open sea. Learn how to tie knots and even try pulling in a small tuna themselves. When the lesson ends, they taste sashimi made right on deck, clean, fresh, and alive with the flavor of the sea. Through experiences like these, the next generation learns a simple but vital truth. The ocean gives only when it is respected. Beyond Japan, the influence of this philosophy is spreading. Across the Pacific, in places like Palau, Fiji, and the Philippines, Japanese fishing experts work with local communities to revive traditional handline methods. They teach how to build sustainable supply chains, how to preserve fish properly, and how to maintain balance between income and ecology. For many island nations struggling against overfishing and climate change, these lessons have become lifelines. Villages once reliant on destructive trawling now find new hope through the patient art of handline fishing. In Tokyo, at international conferences, Japanese representatives often repeat a phrase that captures their national philosophy. A fish caught with care feeds more than a stomach, it feeds the soul. This spirit defines why so many fishermen across Japan still resist industrial expansion. Despite offers from large corporations, many refuse to automate or scale up. They choose precision over profit, quality over quantity. In ports from Kagoshima to Kochi, one can still see the same humble wooden boats, the same quiet departures before sunrise. Crews of fathers and sons head out into the mist, not chasing fortune, but honoring a cycle older than memory. When they return, the harbor comes alive again. Children, running elders, mending nets, the scent of salt and charcoal in the air. The fish are carried to auction, but the pride remains in the community. Each catch, no matter how small, carries meaning. Handline tuna fishing in Japan is more than an economic practice. It is a living philosophy. A balance between mastery and humility, tradition, and progress, humanity, and nature. And in a world increasingly defined by speed competition and excess, it stands as a quiet reminder that the greatest strength lies in restraint. As the evening sun sets over the Pacific, the boats of Yaizu and Oma rest at anchor. The sea glows gold, the air grows still, and the faint call of seabirds echoes across the harbor. Tomorrow before dawn, they will set sail again, repeating the same timeless ritual, casting a line, feeling the pull, lifting a shining fish from the deep. It is not merely work. It is devotion to the sea, to the craft, to the generations that came before and those yet to come. And so the story continues, a quiet symphony of patience, skill, and respect echoing across the waves of the Pacific, reminding the world that sustainability begins not with machines, but with the human heart.